Alright. Are we live?
Yes. We are live.
Am I live with the flooded basement?
Yes. And I'm joined today by the Ikari group of obscure Italianicity.
True.
What did you want me to say? Something like that.
Good enough.
Yeah. Episode 20. Flooded Cinema. Wow. It's impressive. It's disappointing. Episode 20, I was like hoping this would be like a good episode, but honestly.
Hey, you outlasted Freaks and Geeks. You outlasted a Reddit show, so you should be proud of that.
How many episodes did that have?
Actually, you might have not outlasted them yet, but you will. Let me check. Oh yeah, 18 episodes. You
There we go.
Reddit.
Easy. Freaks and Geeks. Linda Cardellini, she can come on the show though. I'll say that much.
I mean, she's old now, isn't she?
Yeah, well, I'll get a time machine, and then I'll bring her back when she's in the Scooby-Doo era.
Nice.
So today I thought it'd be cute to do two movies with the same title. Thirst 1979 and Thirst 2009.
Let me start off by saying, bruh, I know why Australia never gets budgets for films. Why no one ever wants to go
Mad Max.
Hold on. I know why Lord of the Rings went with the Reddit country of New Zealand as opposed to Australia now. I know why. And you just need to watch Thirst from 1979 because this film is completely horrendous. I don't know if you wanted to start with this one and get it out of the way.
Yeah.
It's your show.
Yeah, we'll start with 79 one. Basically, Thirst 1979. So it's an Australian horror sci-fi movie, I guess. And what's it about? It's about a woman who, for some reason, has lineage to this like ancient sort of people. They're basically like Freemasons, but they're vampires. So I guess not much difference from real life. But so the movie begins. She gets kidnapped basically, and then taken to this like facility, and then nothing happens for 90 minutes.
Dude, Anglos being blood-sucking and cold-blooded, that's pretty accurate to real life, wouldn't you say? I know, I'll stop now because of the optics, but I had to do it to you because you made me watch through 90 minutes of
Alright, well, next time I have you on, we'll watch an Italian movie.
Perhaps, but to begin, the film for the first 20 minutes, like, it's shot alright, but even within the first 20 minutes, the plot and the character development is not there. Like, essentially, the female main character, the femc, just kind of, like, attempts to... She, like, is mortified by being around, like, blood-sucking Anglos or whatever. She tries to rob an old dude of his truck, and he just doesn't do anything about it. Like, a guy can't overpower a woman for some reason.
Yeah. I mean, I think the reason is they must have put the facility next to that guy's farm because he was, like, mentally disabled or something. I don't know. Didn't really... Because it was like... It seemed as though he was going to be in on it. Like, he was going to be the sort of front for, like, if the cops came. But he was just a random farmer. Like, he didn't say anything or do anything.
Yeah, she just robbed him of his truck and he couldn't even speak.
Yeah, I was contemplating doing this episode and pretending like I really liked the movie. And I was, like, when because we watched it together. And you were just, like, aghast at how bad it was. That was very enjoyable. That made me enjoy the movie more, I think. How much you hated it.
I asked you what the redeeming qualities for the movie are, and you're like, it's an 8 out of 10 just because. Like, you didn't even list... You couldn't list anything. Like, let's be honest. If the female main character was attractive, perhaps that's the one redeeming quality, but it didn't even have that. This film is legitimately, from top to bottom, horrendous.
I will say there were some things that could have been interesting, but I think like the thing is there were some elements which could have been done okay. Like I liked the idea of they have this facility that is where they so basically this facility is like a farm where they take all these like random people and then periodically they take a certain amount of blood from them and they keep everyone sort of doped up on benzos or something, and then they sort of they pasteurize the blood, I guess, and then they sell it to like vampires and whatever. And I think like the blood farm in its premise is like a cool idea. I like that idea, but it's like it would have been more interesting a movie if it had have been from the perspective of someone that got like kidnapped and put on the blood farm and like was trying to escape or something like that. There's like no
To be
tension.
honest,
You don't like the blood
I
farm?
I don't have a problem with vampires, but the fact that it's in like a rural area, I don't know, it just like didn't seem that interesting to me. Like, and that's I think that's part of why the film was weak. The setting couldn't play to any of its strengths. What are you gonna like? It's a
Yeah.
vampire farm. Like, it's not like a medieval castle or anything, or a gothic castle or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
I'm a pleb, I know, but it can't really play to any of its strengths. It's just you're just at a random farm and like nothing happens for 70 minutes.
Yeah. There's no tension at any point because it's like she's never like properly in danger. And they talk about like, oh, they'll have to do this conditioning to her, but they never explain what that is in any meaningful way. Like there
Yeah,
doesn't seem
so
to
like
be any like bad thing about being a vampire. Like they can go out in the sunlight. They can do like pretty much anything they want. They're not even shown to have like superhuman abilities or anything. It's just like very. The only thing that was interesting, I just thought the idea of like a blood farm was kind of cool. That was basically the only thing in the movie that was interesting. The rest of it was
yeah,
just
like
so done to death.
the middle part, like they tried to make her fall into lust and like hallucinate and dream about this guy, and like it doesn't. The payoff for there is no payoff for that. You know what happens in the ending. It's kind of like, what was the point of that?
Yeah, it was unclear. So basically, the main character is supposed to be related to Elizabeth Bathory, and she's supposed to be, of a lineage, some famous vampire lineage. And there's another guy there who's also of a different famous family lineage. And they don't go into any of that, really. And so they want to find her to unite the families for some reason. But for some reason, she's not involved with the vampires prior to the film. She didn't know anything about it, and so they didn't explain that. They didn't explain why it was like maybe her mom or grandmother or whatever wanted to um, get out of the vampire life, and yeah, none of the movie made any sense really at all. There were some elements that could have been interesting, but they were all just done in the most nonsensical, bland way.
Yeah, and like you said, towards the beginning, like it's directed well, quote unquote, despite the bad like storytelling. But at the end, when they're like sneaking out of the farm or
Yeah,
whatever, that is horrible direction. Like it's not even believable. They walk past like two dudes, and apparently their field of view is like
yeah.
stuck in a box.
It
They
was
have like
like,
a box over their head.
yeah, that looks so dumb. Like this, it's supposed to be this intense like third act scene where they're like sneaking around the facility, but they just like casually walk into a doorway. Like, yeah, it looks so ridiculous.
So like the payoff is supposed to be this evil woman that's a doctor like is torturing the female main character throughout the entire film, and then she just gets pushed into like some blood and then she dies. But there, I didn't feel anything for that. Like it was just like
Yeah, it was
whatever.
lame. It
Like
was very lame. Yeah,
and
it
then
didn't make
like
any sense.
then the dude that uh I don't know if he's like in love with the main character, but he like takes her to like a hidden area, and you see the guy that the main character's in lust with. He's like getting his blood drained, and that's how the movie ends. Essentially, like that's literally how it ends.
Yeah, I think the thing is everything in it didn't work, so it's hard to go through it and explain. Okay, so we can start with the like the vampire council people. None of them were interesting or like cool or well acted or anything. Like the vampire woman who was supposed to be this sort of nurse Ratched type character, um, was just like a bitchy middle aged woman. Like she wasn't compelling or threatening in any way. She just seemed like an inconvenience, you know. And then I guess I kind of like the dweeby guy who was the heir to this other vampire lineage. But the thing is, they don't go into the lineages. They don't explain that. Uh, they don't explain anything about the universe of the world that could have been interesting. It's just so vague, and there was nothing that happened. And like anything that sort of interesting was a dream sequence. Like I like the, you know, the bit where she is back at the house and she's in the room and she's like hallucinating that the walls are weird and the door's breaking. That was kind of interesting, but it wasn't in service of anything, so it was just a waste.
I also when she robs a dude of his truck, like it runs out of gas and she gets picked up right away. It's like, what was the point of that? There was no tension or payoff or anything throughout that scene.
Yeah, it was like something out of a Rush Hour or a light-hearted action comedy thing. Like the villain just pulls up right next to you.
But that's the thing. You and Cloudless said like there in Twilight it did work. Like the lighthearted moments worked, and in this like nothing works. Nothing. There's no coherent thought. Nothing is taken to its logical conclusion in this movie. It's just a bunch of incomplete like ideas essentially.
Yeah, it's like they wanted to have this sort of atmospheric vampire thing, but then they also wanted a sci-fi vampire thing. Like 70s sci-fi, light sci-fi, but yeah, it didn't mesh well at all. Like all the sci-fi stuff was goofy, and I kind of liked the goofiness of it, but it didn't add to the tension or anything. I mean, it directly got rid of the tension.
Also, one last jab. You said this is worse than the Goofy movie. I have a very hard time believing, or this is not worse than the Goofy movie. I have a very hard time believing that.
I don't know. I mean, I'd probably rewatch the Goofy movie before rewatch. Yeah, yeah, this is worse than the Goofy movie. Well, yeah, no, this is definitely worse. Upon further reflection, this is worse than the Goofy movie. I must say.
Like I would say, Die Another Day
Yeah.
is a bad film, but at least I can smile a little bit during that film. Final
Yeah.
Fantasy VII Advent Children is not a good film, but at least there's fan service that I can enjoy. There's nothing really appealing about this film. It has like no star power. It has no good plot. It has no like good characters. Even like the cinematography after the first 20 minutes falls apart in your opinion as well.
Yeah. Yeah. There was no redeem. It was yeah. It's just sort of interesting. It's interesting insofar as it's not even. It's very bad, but it's not bad in a fun, enjoyable way. Just because it's so boring, I guess.
Yeah, like
Um,
a lot.
no, actually,
The
no.
last
There was one sequence that I did kind of like. Um, was when it's after the dream sequences and stuff, and she's back at her house, and then her assistant or work colleague or whatever comes over, and then she drinks her blood. I kind of like that sequence is probably one of the stronger sequences. I really think that the dream sequence stuff was just it just absolutely got rid of any of the tension or the momentum in the plot. And even if at the beginning was boring, at least there was, I don't know, at least there was something, like, in terms of the plot, even if the plot was kind of nothing anyways. Like, she tries to escape and then they just have a boring dream sequence for the next 30 minutes. It doesn't really explain anything. I don't know.
Yeah, and it's a lewd sequence too, and I was yelling at you the entire time that was going on.
um, yeah, that was very 70s as well, the mustache. So, I don't even know what they were going for with
They
this
just
movie.
threw that. This was a money laundering scheme. Like, there is no other way to describe it.
I will say I thought the when they do the ritual, it visually, that bit was like decent, was okay. Her in the pink like outfit or whatever. I remember when we get to the third act of the film, you kept asking me like every 5 minutes, how much longer is there in this movie? And it's not even a long movie. I think it is like an hour and a half or an hour and 35 minutes or something. But it feels basically as long as the second movie that we're going to discuss, but
Yeah.
without any redeeming qualities.
Wait, hold on. Does this really have 100 on Rotten Tomatoes? Rotten Tomatoes is confirmed Reddit. Like, I've always hated people that used it, but like, if that's true, I have to hate
Yeah,
on
it
it
was
some
well
more.
received at the time. I don't know. Do not understand why.
I mean, I hate the Rotten Tomatoes grading scale because if everyone gives this movie a C, it gets 100. Like,
Sure.
an average film is 100. I don't see how that like is a good grading scale.
Yeah. Well, it's got a 5.8 on IMDb, which is too high, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you gave it an 8 when I was yelling at you.
Well, you need to learn to distinguish between jokes and reality.
We're in the post-ironic world, bro. According to Sam
Mm.
High, there's no distinction.
Um. What
Anything
else?
else you want to say about
Yeah.
this abomination?
Um. Yeah, I do not recommend this movie unless you very specifically want to watch 70s Australian horror films and you're just like a completionist for watching all of them for some bizarre reason. Uh, yeah, do not bother with this movie. Do not bother with this movie. Just watch Twilight. Honestly, Twilight's like 50 times better than this.
I agree. This film is horrendous and it has no redeeming qualities.
I don't know if it's the worst show, the worst movie I've done on the show. It might be. I don't know if I'd
Did
prefer to
you
rewatch this or Kangaroo Jack.
you
Probably
said it
Kangaroo
this
Jack.
the live action Kangaroo Jack?
Yeah.
I don't remember like how bad that film is, but I guess I'll have to watch that episode. You said this film was 10 gigabytes to download, right? For such a bad film.
It was a good rip though. It looked good. It looked good. The rip quality was good. So you cannot deny that. I think maybe I was just so impressed by the rip quality for the first 10 minutes that in my mind I'm like, oh, this is good cinematography, but it was just like me wasting my hard drive space.
Yeah, I hope you deleted that, man.
I will. I don't know if I did. I will now. I will now after we've done this episode. I'm really trying to think.
We can't even like wing it with this film. Like we've said everything about it, because there's nothing there.
Um, yeah, it really it didn't make sense at all. Like they wanted to have this Freemason ritual, but then they were like, "Oh, this blood thing's a good idea. Oh, let's have a dream sequence." And it's like they wanted to do vampire movies from all different angles, but none of the angles worked, and every single angle was done in a really lame way. And so, yeah, it just sucked. It just sucked.
Yeah, it was bad.
Ugh. I'm really struggling to think of if there's anything else we can say about this.
Oh yeah, there was like one attractive girl throughout the entire film, and she was
Whoa,
on
whoa,
for like
whoa, 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 whoa. No accusations
for
here.
like. What, you thought there were zero attractive girls throughout the film?
I thought she was cute. That girl was cute.
Okay, so you agree with me, and she was on for like 50
Oh,
seconds.
yeah.
So
I
like,
thought you were about to say something else.
no, dude, I already said the Anglo thing. I said that was the end of my bad optics.
Okay. Yeah, I was hoping she would be more in the movie, but yeah, no, it was not. The movie, it should have been like, okay, let's do this. Let's try and rewrite it for 2 minutes. If it had have been that, I don't know, there needed to be some reason why she was not aware of the cult. That was not explained. They needed to have a good reason for that. Like maybe we open the movie with the flashback of the mum escaping or something with the baby, and then she drops it off at an orphanage or something like that.
Yeah, and the guy at the end that kills her love interest needed a backstory as well. He just like comes out of nowhere.
Yeah. If maybe he was loyal to her or something like that, and yeah, like I don't know what I would do differently. I would explain what the conditioning thing was a bit more. Like they didn't really explain the vampire rules that well in this movie, or they were explained because I mean even in the next movie we discussed, the rules aren't they're not explicitly explained necessarily, but it becomes like clear what sort of the rules are of like what's going to happen in the film. But in this movie, nothing like that is explained at all. So there's no tension. You don't know what's going on. Um, yeah, we keep repeating ourselves that it sucks. I am trying to think. How would we rewrite it? I don't know. I wouldn't. I guess I would just shoot the screenwriter in Minecraft, in Roblox.
True.
I would just simply take the money that they were going to make the film with and buy Chainlink with it or something.
Well, Chainlink might be a scam, bro. I hope that it pumps up in December, but like I agree with Cloutless. Ethereum's been outpacing Chainlink, like it's been the better investment.
This is now Sigma Crypto.
Alright, well, we've rehashed this film front to back. Do you have any final thoughts?
No.
Okay,
First, 2009.
Okay.
So, we both watched the director's cut, right? For this movie?
Yes.
So, my main overall initial thoughts are either, one, turn it into a mini-series of like 4 episodes, or 2, cut it back to 90 minutes, or like 100 minutes. Was basically my 2 feelings about this film.
Yeah, a lot of it was... The pacing was bad, I agree.
I think... spoilers for this movie, by the way. I don't know if I'll even... What else? I mean, I'll say this much. If you've got... I don't know if I'd necessarily recommend it for a date, but if for whatever reason you're trying to court an alt girl, this is maybe a good movie to show her, I guess. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, if you're trying to date a girl that's into like the horror genre, I don't think this is a bad film. I think women love mediocrity, and this is slightly better than average, so this will be amazing to them.
So pretty much it follows... Oh, you go ahead. I think I explained the last one, so you go ahead.
So essentially, this film follows a Latin priest at the beginning, and he's like at a hospital. He either works at a hospital or regularly visits the hospital, and he's like having doubts about a lot of things, his faith. So he volunteers to participate in an experiment with a jab. And the best part of this film comes at the very beginning. Like, he's in confession,
Yeah.
and this woman's telling him that she was suicidal. And he says, suicide is martyrdom for Satan. And that's
Mm.
base, but he ruins that right away by saying, trust science and use antidepressants.
Well, that does lead into, I guess, the fact that he said that. I don't know, it's kind of weird that he said that, but it sort of leads into the fact that he's interested in going to this weird experiment, I guess.
Yeah, it's good foreshadowing, but I'm just saying it's cringe for him to
Yeah.
be a Latin priest and have that much faith in science.
It's weird that the virus, so there's this virus called the Emmanuel virus. Um, very obvious what's going on there. Um, and he's the only one that doesn't die out of, what is it, 500 people?
It's a lot. First, he was like puking out blood, and it's
I
looking
like
like he's
that was
gonna
a
die.
good little sequence. I like that. He's playing the recorder and he vomits blood through the recorder.
Yeah, and then he miraculously like recovers, and everyone's like, "Please heal my son. Please
Yeah.
heal my daughter."
Yeah. I liked yeah, I wish there was like more stuff with that cult forming around him. I thought that was kind of interesting. But I don't know. I
Yeah,
mean, I guess I don't know what else they could have done necessarily. But um, uh, yeah. And
it's
go ahead.
I'm not gonna get explicit, but it's funny how they portrayed all the scientists and people working at the hospital. I don't think
Mm,
that's a very realistic depiction. I'm not gonna get into detail, but
yeah.
if you watch the film, you'll know what I mean.
It's. Did they say where that was? That hospital?
I don't know, but they were speaking English, so
Probably Jamaica.
yeah,
Um. Yeah, I noticed that as well. I guess it must have been Rome.
yeah, true.
um. What do we got? The other thing I want to say is generally, I find it always, I guess, interesting when Asians attempt to do a story with like Christian stuff in it, because they have this very weird view of what Christianity is. It's like this very, I don't know how to describe it. It's like, to them, they use it as this catch-all for being quite serious about any sort of faith, I guess, because if you're a Christian in these Asian countries, you would be relatively serious, I guess. Or I don't know,
Um,
maybe Park Chan Wook was Christian. Actually, I really should have looked that up. What?
yeah, well, according to what J.Y. Lewis said about Korea, is most people there don't really think about religion, and when they do think about it, they have to be serious about it because it's like one or the other.
Mm, it makes sense. Um, but yeah, I guess he's got this other the older monk guy who's like his what confessor or something, or spiritual father. Um,
Yeah, they try to set him up at a monastery, but then they get him an expensive hotel too. That was kind of strange.
yeah. Um,
Do you want to get to the part where things start like getting weird and he realizes he's a vampire?
yeah. Go for it. Go for it. I'm trying to think what happened. What do I got written down here? Oh, yeah, so he comes back
So
alive. You go ahead. You go
people are
ahead. Refresh me.
people people are flocking to him, and then he meets up with his old friend, I think, and his illness relapses, and then he becomes a vampire, I think, because the sun hurts him or something, right?
Yeah, that's when he starts to work out what's going on because he meets up with Yeah, the old friends, and he doesn't eat anything. Yeah, and then he collapses in his
Oh, and
cell, right?
he's starting to have a like huge bloodlust at that point. Like he smells sushi and he's like disgusted by it because of his bloodlust.
Yeah. And that was weird.
Actually,
Do Koreans eat sushi like that, or like what was the deal with that?
I don't know. I don't want to be vulgar, but did he like feel that way because one of the women, it was like their time of the month, and he was like freaking out, or what was the point of that scene?
Uh, it could be. It could be some. I think. Well, it was also his first interaction with the love interest of the film. So who knows? I thought one thing
Yeah,
actually I thought was really funny was so what happened? So he has all these weird symptoms. He gets his bloodlust, and then he drinks the blood of that comatose guy. Um,
yeah,
and then I love he doesn't have to wear his glasses anymore, and he basically looks like like Asian Edward Cullen, like his hairstyle and everything. Like he restyles his hair.
yeah. The director of this film plagiarized Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2002 with the glasses.
Yeah. Um, and that actually, that was that scene. I love that scene. It did remind me of Spider-Man. It was so weird. Where yeah, he like starts to being able to hear things super far away, and he can see things with like super good detail, and that just reminded me of Spider-Man or like an early superhero film. Um, I
Well,
thought that was kind
well,
of funny.
Raimi was originally a horror director, right before
Mm,
Spider-Man.
true.
So the his symptoms from his disease come back, and he has to drink blood to suppress them, right?
Yeah. Well, it's
And
unclear if that's part of the disease or something. Like once you're infected with this disease, maybe if anyway, that was sort of unclear. Or maybe it was a side effect of the jab,
yeah,
something like that. Which is interesting. Interesting. Um. What else happens in the first sort of third of the film? Not much.
yeah, not much. That's why where the bad pacing comes in. Like you said, this film was a little bit too long.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how
Uh,
much faster they could have done all this setup stuff. Um, I will say I feel like his the other monk guy seems like such a superfluous character.
yeah,
It was
like
like it was needed, so then he would have someone to talk to about his loss of faith. It was just like he was there for that reason alone. He didn't really have because he wasn't involved in any other aspect of the plot. It was kind of
yeah, he was a plot device. But didn't the monk say early on like the Vatican doesn't even approve of like the experiment?
yeah,
So this dude is just like trusting science as
yeah.
any midwit
Mm,
would do.
true, true. Um,
So let's cut to the part where like the relationship between the love interest and the main
yeah,
character begins. First, like I think she tries to say her husband is like abusing her, right?
yeah. Well, he said no.
So like,
She implies that later on, but like their relationship begins. Um, it's after. Oh, so he's in the hospital and he realizes, oh crap, I'm a vampire, and he tries to immediately kill himself. Yeah, that was one that we forgot to mention. That he tries to
oh
immediately kill himself. He jumps out the window and then he gets his head stuck in the windscreen. I thought that was really funny.
yeah, that was a good scene.
That was a good bit. And then he smelt that girl, like going for a run, because she hates her husband and her mother-in-law, and just likes to go for like an evening run or something, I guess. And then he
Is it?
smells her. Is that what happened?
I think so, but is it ever explained why she hates her husband? Was it like an arranged marriage?
yeah, it's explained. It's so she was an orphan, or she was orphaned at a young age, and basically that mother-in-law took her in, and then she forced her to work in the dress
Oh yeah,
shop, long hours, etc., etc., and then it was just through momentum of whatever, she basically forced her to marry her son,
yeah,
sort of
pretty
to sort of
much.
keep her in the family as like this sort of slave. And she had this attitude of, oh, I adopted you, therefore you owe me, basically. So I can sympathize with
I,
her to a certain extent.
I can't.
But yeah,
Like who wants to kill someone over that? Like you hate someone that much and you want never mind, that's a spoiler for later on. Go ahead.
um, what did you think? What did you think of her broadly?
I thought her character was not badly written. Like I didn't it made sense that she reacted how she did. I don't think anything was rushed or anything. I didn't think she was a profound character, but good
Yeah,
enough. What about you?
yeah. I thought her turn. I liked her in the beginning, like uh, I feel I was almost thinking I wish there wasn't this whole. I wish this was almost just like a rom com, like a black comedy rom com. I feel like that. I mean, that's not obviously not what the movie was going for or anything, but I thought there were aspects of their sort of relationship developing that was kind of cute, and then obviously, but the thing is, it's adulterous, so it was just kind of cringe in that respect. Um,
Yeah. Wait, give some examples of these dark comedy rom coms. I've never heard of this before.
uh, I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to think of something off the top of my head. Well, there's like a zombie one.
What
Uh,
is that? I think my ex GF liked Warm Bodies, but I didn't
yeah,
watch it.
yeah,
Is it
yeah,
like
yeah.
a,
That sort of thing. I don't know. I mean, I was just sort of, I'm just spitballing here. I'm just spitballing.
uh, yeah, I get what you
Um,
mean.
but yeah, her turn in the sort of the third, like the last stretch of the film, um, felt like, I mean, that's what needed to happen for the plot to keep moving forward, but it was very, very predictable, and that's sort of like that happens in every single vampire, in a lot of vampire media, basically. Um,
Except Twilight, that was genuinely good, right?
yeah, I mean, I think this movie, yeah, the shorter probably go and try and find the theatrical cut, and uh, it feels like a very straightforward vampire movie. I don't know. We'll keep going. We'll keep going. What else have I got written here? Yeah, Ed Cullen. Oh, there was one bit I liked when the mum puts a lock on the outside of the room,
Yeah.
and then the husband is just sort of like smiling absentmindedly, and he's just this sort of idiot, like sick guy all the time.
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of just a plot device.
Yeah. Um. I guess at this point we might as well just say sort of like what the turn is in the middle of the film. So they team up, the love interest and main guy, and they kill the husband. They drown him, and um, then pretty much the rest of the film is them dealing with that. Um,
Yeah, and then he turns her into a vampire later on as well.
yeah. Um, I thought the scene of them killing him was. I liked that they were just sort of at a certain point they just started blatantly talking about it in the boat, and he's just sort of sat there like, what is going on? I thought that
Yeah,
was kind of cool.
I thought it
Uh,
was terrible when she like admitted that he never like hit her or did anything to her. That was
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That's when she just became completely unlikable at that point. Well, no, but it was obvious the whole time that she was lying about him hitting her. because
Yeah, it was.
because you see that one point where she's like cutting herself and injuring herself, and that was um, that was supposed to be like showing that it's not him giving her these injuries or whatever, I guess. Um, what
And then she
else?
asks the MC to kill her because she feels
Oh
guilty.
yeah, yeah. And then he turns her into a vampire, and then they're both vampires. Um,
Yeah, but her bloodlust is way worse than the MC's because she just wants to indiscriminately kill everyone.
yeah, and I think that sort of makes sense because not like he was a priest and he did have some discipline, basically. Maybe I guess um, he had some ascetic discipline, and so I guess he could control urges more easily in general rather than just a random person. I like how the mother-in-law becomes comatose. I
Yeah,
thought that
well,
was kind of
hold
cool.
on. The Latins don't fast like Orthodox flooded, so I don't know if he actually had discipline.
Well, we're not here to debate that. I'm just saying theoretically he would likely have had more. Maybe he's just his character. I guess I don't know. I thought that made sense because he was a priest. That's my thought process. And there was the other thing that you pointed out, which I noticed, is that he crosses himself in the Orthodox way
Yeah, well, not
in
he
one
does it
scene.
from left to right, but he does use the three fingers like in the Latin way.
No, he did it.
You
He did
use
it. I saw in one bit he does it the from right to left. I
oh
swear. I swear. I could be wrong.
well, I was just pointing out the three fingers. Like it's like an Italian. The
Uh,
way Orthodox cross themselves is you make an Italian sign, but you put the two fingers down to signify the two natures of Christ, and you have three fingers like joined to
yeah.
signify the three members of the Trinity. But in the Latin way, your hand is open to signify the five wounds of Christ, and he
Mm,
always did it in the Orthodox way. Like he always put his fingers in the Orthodox. He crossed himself like a uniate, essentially.
mm,
From that was what I got from it. So
mm.
that was kind of maybe Koreans just don't know anything and like they effed up, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, this director's pretty good. I would have assumed he would have done some research on it. I don't know. I'm not sure what the deal was with that. Um, I was gonna say this movie reminded me a bit of The Fly with Jeff Goldblum. It was sort of similar ideas of science sort of warping someone into a monster kind of thing, and them getting very lustful and um, engaging in their passions and whatnot. Um, there was one really weird bit which I didn't understand what the point was. What was going on there? Um, the love interest gets raped. There's just like a rape scene in the middle of the movie. Do you remember that?
Yeah,
Like, what was the point of that?
I don't know, man. He didn't capitalize on that. It didn't make any sense to include it in the film. That should have been a deleted scene.
Yeah, because it doesn't come back at all. Like she doesn't say, "Oh, he raped me,"
Yeah,
And it was just completely unnecessary. It was just weird. It didn't make any sense. And also, he's already got like a young, like Filipino wife. That guy.
yeah.
So I don't know. Anyway, it didn't make sense as a scene. It seemed like there must have been an earlier draft of the script, and then he filmed it, and then he just decided to put it in the director's cut.
Yeah, I feel like he probably wrote that scene and then the script changed and he just didn't take it out, so it made no sense.
Yeah. Um. So then, pretty much, we get towards the end, and I really. Oh, I'm trying to think. There's the other bit where they're sort of jumping around on the rooftops and they're debating about the ethics of being a vampire, which was, which was all right. It was kind of very trite things of like,
Yeah.
oh, we're the superior race, we're the next, where is it a sin for a fox to eat a hen, sort of thing, and it was It was fine. It was serviceable.
I mean, fox and hen are sinless creatures, whereas humans are not. So that logic
Yeah.
doesn't apply.
Um, then what happened? Then, oh, we haven't. Probably one of the best scenes in the movie is they're playing mahjong, and then the comatose mother-in-law like is able to signal, through blinking and things that it was the main character and the love interest that actually killed the husband. I really liked that sequence. What did you think of that?
Yeah, I thought that was pretty good.
Um, and then pretty much they uh, kill a bunch of people, and then they drive off. What's the main character realizes? Okay, we're monsters. We can't live like this, and he drives into the middle of like a big field, and he throws the keys off the cliff of the car, and then he's sort of doomed them because the sun's gonna rise, and then they're gonna die, pretty much.
Yep.
Does that count as suicide?
I mean, he said suicide is a is martyrdom for Satan. So yeah, I think he thought he fell into despair. There's no way he can be saved, so he's just gonna stop himself from hurting everyone else.
Yeah. Yeah. And then they turn into ash or whatever.
Yeah, and then
That's
pretty
it.
much it. So I thought
Uh,
this film was okay, but it was pretty Reddit. If I'm being honest, I didn't like it as much as you did. I didn't think. You said this director is excellent. I don't. I didn't get that impression from this
this is
film. Other
easily
than
this is way weaker than the other two movies of his that I've seen. I was like a bit surprised, honestly. I'll have to
yeah,
force you to
like
watch another one of his movies at some point.
the only scene where I see his potential is the mahjong scene or whatever that game is called. Like other
Yeah.
than that, it was pretty. Like there was good stuff about it, but it was nothing profound.
Yeah. It was very. I just wish. Yeah, we had to watch the. If I'm ever gonna rewatch this, I would rewatch the theatrical cut, I suppose.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
unlike you said last episode we did. Ironically, we did two very good films, but this time
Yeah.
around, the exact opposite was true.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd much rather rewatch Evolution than either of these movies.
Yeah,
Um. Yeah, I don't know. I was really because I swear his other movies are good. He did Old Boy and he did Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance, and I highly rate both of those movies. So
Oh, do you know what the moral of the story is? Like, if you simp for women, you're not going to be saved. I think that's what I got from it.
yeah. So how's that Reddit? That's based.
Well, it's Reddit because he told that woman to take antidepressants.
It's true. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what
And
was
I
up with
know
that movie.
that wasn't really that wasn't really the theme. I'm just trying to
Yeah.
cope and.
Well, next time I have you on, maybe we'll do another one of his movies just so I can prove to you that he's good. We'll see.
Dude, I don't know. Like, I'm really questioning your taste in cinema after these two films, man. I don't know.
In my defense, I had seen neither of them before suggesting them. All right, because I wanted to do two Asian vampire movies, but we couldn't source the other one, which, whatever. Maybe that would have been a masterpiece. Maybe we missed out.
I'll say this film reminded me of and I don't know this director, but I'm just gonna. This is pure conjecture on my part. This would kind of be like this director's Sicario, whereas I think Denis Villeneuve is a pretty good director. I liked Prisoners and Blade Runner 2049. Sicario,
Yeah.
I thought was objectively a good film, but I didn't enjoy it for some reason. Like the main character
Yes.
didn't
Yes.
really appeal to me to
That's
a large
actually.
degree.
Yeah. 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 I think. Yeah. This movie felt quite constrained by the genre. It it felt like it was trying to transcend its genre and like the vampire and horror elements, but a lot of those elements in the plot cliches really held it back. Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, his other movies do not have cliches like that. I don't know. I was expecting a lot more out of this movie. I thought it was weirdly tame as well for his movies.
Oh, the guy's name is Park Reddit.
What's wrong with Park?
Park?
Yeah.
How is that not a Reddit name?
How is that one?
I'm just gonna name my son Desert or Field or
He's
Park.
Korean. He's Korean.
Blanket. Even though I like Michael Jackson, but like things like that. Like, how is that not Reddit? Flooded.
It's a Korean name. Excuse me, I'm just eating.
No, well, you've acknowledged that since there's a lot of Asian countries outside of China are American satellites. Like, there's a lot of influence.
Yeah.
So that would be my rebuttal to you. Park is a Reddit name.
Well, we can agree to disagree there. Yeah, this movie, there was a couple cool moments. Like, I liked the bit where they're in the hospital room with the comatose guy, and the camera pulls back through the curtains, and then she closes the curtains, and then the camera goes up and over the railing of the curtains. I don't know if you remember that shot, but that was like a cool little shot.
Yeah, that's like what I meant. Like, there was a few seconds of him showing that he's a skilled director, but I would have never guessed that you would have held him in that high of a regard from this film. Like, yeah. I don't really see this being above a 7 to me, and I know you'll probably think it's an 8. Just
I would honestly give it the director's cut, the 2.5 hour cut that I watched was. Yeah,
6.5.
Yeah, 6.5 or 7. Honestly, I feel like if they had have cut it back, they needed to cut it back. It didn't make. Yeah, it was fine. It was fine, but I was really disappointed, honestly, because I do really love the other 2 movies I've seen from this director. Like, I would say. One of them is one of the best movies I've seen this year, honestly. Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance. Go watch. I mean, I won't necessarily recommend go watch that because that's a much more violent and disturbing movie.
So, if you're Christian, should you watch that movie or no?
Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance.
Yeah.
I don't know. If you watch like American Psycho and you're happy to watch that sort of a movie, go watch Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance. That's all I'll say.
Is that the one you reviewed with Jeb?
No, that's Gozu. That's a different. That's a Japanese director. You racist. That's Takashi. Hey, I did 2 reviews. That's Takashi Miike. So
everyone is an icon of Christ. I love everyone.
Sure.
Don't accuse me of that.
That's the message of this show. Yeah, but don't trust Australians to make any film, and don't trust Koreans to make vampire movies because they'll just be mid.
True. I was gonna say we're all made in Christ's image except for women. They're made from men.
Well,
they're made from men's ribs. No, I'm just playing. I'm just kidding.
I'm just playing. You know I love you, girls. Yeah, I don't know. This movie needed like something, because there wasn't actually even a twist on the whole vampire thing, aside from the fact that he was a priest. Like, he didn't even need to be a priest. Like, that was kind of... It didn't really fit in thematically that heavily. It was almost like a purely aesthetic choice.
Yeah, like, you even tried to say, oh, maybe he was disciplined because he was a priest. No, but Latins don't fast, man. The priest...
Hey, we're not here to just besmirch the Latins. I'm just saying... I was just giving a possible explanation.
Come on, dude, you're gonna counter-signal me over this?
The show is for everyone. The show is for the people, okay? I don't bring my politics here. We're here to discuss film.
So, all right. So, if is this show for people that want to suppress your show, Flooded?
No, I guess not. I guess not. But no, I see.
There, I
I see your point. I see your point. Um, yeah, I thought they would do more with the fact that he was a priest, but it's literally just like a few handful of very boring scenes with the other monk guy where they just sort of have this very basic back and forth, predictable conversation. You know,
yeah.
oh, being
This
a vampire is so bad. Oh, I want to be a vampire. No, you don't. You know, and that's the thing I hate about a lot of vampire stuff is it's just. And I don't know why I signed up to doing a whole month of vampire movies, but that's what I'm doing. But every
I don't know why.
what?
Why did you do that, bro? That you boxed yourself in. Halloween, that would have been this month is great for any type of horror film, but you boxed yourself. You didn't want to do The Shining. You boxed yourself in.
Well, I thought doing a theme would be interesting for the audience. Like a month of vampire movies. I don't know.
Like when I think of vampires, I think of like the Castlevania video games. I don't even think of horror films, to be honest. Like I don't take
True.
vampires
True.
seriously.
From Dusk Till
I
Dawn
don't.
was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, vampires aren't really scary. There was one jump scare in this actually that kind of got me. Was you know how they're hallucinating the husband, um, throughout parts of the movie. Well, there was the one bit where he like jumps up and grabs the main character's back. If you remember that,
Yeah.
that kind of got me. That was a little jump scare. So there we go. Horror movie confirmed. The first movie was a horror
Um.
movie insofar as it was just really bad.
I mean, that was just like a money laundering scheme. That wasn't even a film. Like, I would probably rather watch mo- any bad film from the early 2000s than that.
Yeah, but bad movies from the early 2000s are good. That's the thing you have to realize. That's the mindset you have to have. Like Evolution is a bad movie, but it's good to watch.
I know. I don't think Evolution actually got good reviews, didn't it?
You got mid reviews, I thought. I don't know.
Well, that's still like not bad. Evolution got an 83 on Rotten
Oh,
Tomatoes.
really?
So
Oh,
see,
damn. Damn.
so
If evolution is so true, why is there no Evolution 2? That's my question.
Evolution is obviously not true.
uh,
And I'm going to post to Chad, whatever, and say no citation necessary.
hmm This movie was really popular as well. This Thirst movie.
The Australian one?
No, 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 no. I'd never heard of it. I don't think I would if I talked to like 99.999% of people, they would not know that movie. Um, no, I was talking about the Korean one. It was
First,
yeah, it was well received. Well received. What is their
yeah,
currency? A W one.
it won
Hmm.
an award at that French film festival Cannes or
Uh,
Cannes. I don't know what it's called,
Cairns is a
but
place in Australia.
well,
Best
I don't know.
visual
You and the
effects.
French kid. I'm apathetic. You and the French can settle your rivalry somewhere else. You irreligious groups of people can go somewhere else.
Um, yeah, yeah. I feel bad. Like this is. I was excited to do another episode with you, bro, but we just we got the two very boring movies. I mean, look, Thirst is well made. The Korean one is well made. It's good acting. Um, it's just
I mean,
the plot needed to be tightened up significantly.
I mean, Sicario is well made, and you said you fell asleep watching it.
When did I say that?
Well, you said it wasn't. You didn't enjoy it.
I said that Sicario would be good if it wasn't for Emily Blunt's character. If it was literally just Josh Brolin and what's his face, Benicio del Toro, like killing cartel people. I almost referred to the cartel people as something else. But if that was the movie, then I would love it. Which I think that's what pretty much the sequel is. The Day of the Soldado, because it's Josh Brolin and Benicio come back, but there's no Emily Blunt, so I really should watch that.
Yeah.
Have you?
That one's probably better.
Did you watch this? No, you haven't watched it. Oh, okay.
No.
Alright, well, I think we've covered everything. Yeah, we've just hit an hour. Yeah, sorry guys. Low energy episode a little bit. Alright, we didn't have much to get into really with these movies.
The thing was, I was a diversity hire, so Flooded sabotaged this episode so everyone would request that I
work.
never come back on.
Is it go work, get broke? Yeah, that was my strategy. I did that to myself.
Well,
yeah,
Flooded, you're gonna have to vet your next your film selection moving forward.
This is the first time this has happened where it's two mid movies. Well, one bad, and where neither of the movies was good or was great.
Like I said, you're gonna have to vet these films moving forward. Your audience, there was no entertainment value in this. At least you could have went along with me and said the first film was bad, but
I did. I said it was bad.
But when we were watching it, you were countersignaling me the whole time.
Oh, I'm sorry. Was that hurting your Italian pride?
It's not about pride. It's not about being Italian or pride. It's about not coping.
I wasn't coping. I was trolling. Big difference.
Nah, you were coping for the first 20 minutes. I was like, this is garbage. And you're like,
maybe.
Nah, the cinematography is base. You even admitted the only reason you liked it was because that rip was nice. Like, that wasn't even a good film. You admitted you overrated it.
I was joking when I said I gave it an 8 when we were actually watching it. When we were actually watching it, the first 20 minutes I probably would have given an 8, and then the rest of the movie happened, and now I would give it
3.
Yeah, 3 or 4. Probably 3. I don't know. I would give Thirst... Yeah, if we had to watch the theatrical cut, I reckon it would have been a solid 7. But, no, it's like a 6, really. I mean, the girl was cute, at least, so that does sort of bump it up to a 6.5, I'll say that much.
Wait, which girl was cute?
The main girl.
I'll need a citation
in
the text chat after this episode.
Well, there's a line in that. What is it? 2 people can have different palates or something like that.
I think that sounds like cope to me.
Alright. We're ending this episode, alright, before this completely devolves into one of our usual arguments.
Well, you should have been a lawyer, Flooded, because you're good at...
I should have been a politician. Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.
Alright, we're done.